I think we're gonna have to see double this morning. We've had some technical difficulties with this in the past, so yes, you all will be seeing double this morning. So I hope that's okay. Um, We're going to go ahead and get started this morning because I am so very excited about our guest today. We have Elder Shell Moore. Many of you may know her, but many of you may not. So I would love to do an introduction via her bio just to give us a little insight on who we're speaking to this morning and the wealth of information, knowledge, and expertise that she brings to our jewel well. So we have Miss Shell Moore is a dynamic, faith-driven servant leader and motivational voice on a mission to change lives, much like the mission here at You Are a Jewel. She's a speaker, an entrepreneur, a devoted mother, a caregiver, and social work and health coordination professional on the path toward a nursing career. She brings purpose and passion to every space she enters. Her work centers on strengthening families, uplifting communities, and equipping women to rise into their full power. Known for turning compassion into action, Shell champions family engagement, health and wellness, community partnerships, building to help children thrive and schools succeed. She is a catalyst for connection and change, advancing equitable outcomes through hands on service and heart led leadership. As a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, my sorrow, might I add, she blends faith, collaboration, and calling to create meaningful, lasting impact for women, children, and families everywhere. I introduce to you Elder Shell Moore. Elder, thank you for being here with us this morning. Again, we were having just a little bit of technical difficulties this morning, so I'm hoping that she can hear me on the other side. Elder, can you hear me over there? Can you hear me okay?
It's been going in and out.
Yes,
You
okay. I
froze
just
for a
want
minute there.
that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that you could hear me because we've done a wonderful introduction for you. And without further ado, as people come on this morning live and as they come to our page for the replay, we want to make sure that they're able to get
Mm.
what they came for. So I'm going to let you go ahead and get started. And we are talking from the Jewel Well this morning with Elder Shell Moore. Welcome, Elder.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Um, I don't know if it's going in and out on my end. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, a little bit. It kind of jumps in and out, but you keep going because God is good.
About it. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm excited to share with you what I have this morning. Um, it's it's truly a blessing to be asked to speak on such a subject that's been kind of mm, something I have been going through for the last few months of my life. And I know oftentimes prior to me speaking on a subject, it's helpful. It's not only helpful, but it brings us to a literal breaking point. Um, so I want to talk to you this morning about being patched, being afraid to be broken.
Mm.
So it's there's quite courage in being patched. Patch means you didn't quit. It means something tore you open and there was loss, betrayal, burnout, or disappointment or grief. And instead of letting it define the end of your story, you chose repair. You chose to keep going. And even if the stitches show, I still got to keep going. Even if you don't feel like yourself yet, even if you're moving slower and you're guarding your heart more carefully.
mm,
But here's the honest part of it: when you've been patched, you're often afraid to be broken again.
mm,
Now, you flinch at conflict, you hesitate to trust, you overthink, you even overthink joy. Because last time joy came, it was pain that followed it. You build emotional seatbelts, you build emotional airbags, and you even build escape routes just in case. That fear doesn't mean you're weak, it means your nervous system remembers, your heart remembers, your soul remembers. It remembers what it cost you to survive, whatever you went through emotionally. Emotional wellness isn't pretending you were never hurt, it's learning how to live with wisdom instead of walls. Now, there's a difference between boundaries and barricades. So, in our emotional life, I believe that we have to find boundaries, and boundaries are for the people that's outside and also for the person that's inside. So it can become a barricade. And there's a difference between caution and constant fear. So when you're patched, your emotions become more sensitive. Not because you're fragile, but because you're healing the tissue. Healed skin feels differently than unbroken skin. And in saying that, once the scar comes, it feels different than your skin that's never been scarred. It's more aware that healed tissue, it's more alert. Sometimes it's even more tender than the rest of you. That doesn't make you broken, it makes you human in recovery. And in saying that, it comes a deep truth in it. And that truth is that you are not made of glass, you are made of grace, you are made of memory, and you are resilience. You don't need to live braced for impact forever. Emotional wellness is the practice of letting yourself feel without panicking, trusting without surrendering your discernment, loving without abandoning your boundaries, and hoping without erasing your history. It's learning to say, yes, I've been hurt. And yes, I'm still allowed to live fully. Being patched doesn't mean you're weak, it often means you're wiser. You've learned where it hurts, what it costs, and what truly matters. The goal isn't to never break again. The goal is to know you can survive, heal, and rebuild if you ever do. So sometimes we hide behind the broken pieces. Sometimes we hide behind that because we don't want people to see us broken. We don't want people to know that. I remember one time in college, one of my classes, the teacher asked us to create something that represent us as a person, include our family and everything that meant music because I love music hobbies. And I represented with this lioness that I created into puzzle pieces. And as I created into puzzle pieces, and she looked at it and she said, why did you make this? I said, because I'm strong and I know I'm strong and I know what the lioness does. She goes out and she provides and she does all these things, and she, even when she stands with, with perseverance and proudness, and even though she goes out to hunt, she's still the queen. I said, but sometimes I'm not all that put together. I said, and that's my transparency, because I can understand that about me, because sometimes we feel like, because I'm strong, I got to always be strong. I have to always be strong. I have to be, and I have to show forth this. But understanding that I don't want my stitches to show, but it's the stitches that help us remember how we were able to show forth a weakness that built us up in the area that we needed the most. If we never know the areas that we're weak, if we never know the emotional areas, then we don't know how to build resilience. So if you're never broken in that area, you'll never be patched, and the stitches will be. It's just like when someone they go to war and they have their war wounds, they have all these things that remind them of what happened, but it also reminds them that they survived. Oh my goodness. And when I thought about, and when I created that lioness, I'm like, I remember the things I survived in my youth. I remember the things I survived in my relationships. I remember those things, because it can become an emotional prison, because you won't allow anything else in, and you won't allow one else. I will not be broken, but there's still no growth. There's no way for, if there's boundaries, and then there becomes barricades. You barricade yourself inside of this thing that doesn't allow you to live. And I didn't want that. I said, I can't be a part of not living. So the persons who did me wrong, the person who molested me, I gave that back to them. The person who broke my heart, I gave that back to them. It's not something I want to live in. So I have to give this back to you, because it's yours, it's not mine. And if I carry it, that means you get to continue to do it to me, because it's not my cross to bear. It's not mine, because that was a weakness on your part. That was a sickness and an illness on your part. It's not mine. So I had to find out who I am. So emotionally, I had to grow. Emotionally, I had to become mature. Emotionally, I had to find my own relationship with God. I had to find my own place to build. I had to find my own foundation. So in doing that, it helps me to be who I am today. Still a lioness, still growing, still setting boundaries, but breaking barricades. The patches just show how hard I worked. The patches show how hard I dreamed. The patches show just how much I was willing to take the brokenness and keep surviving to live. Because I didn't want to just survive in my life, I want to live. And that's exactly what I do today. I live. The goal is to know you can survive, heal, and rebuild if you ever do come into that emotional strain. And maybe this time you won't rebuild in silence, because the enemy likes to try to get us by ourselves so that he can work on us, and he can plant seeds of doubt, seeds of I'm not enough, seeds of despair. But maybe this time you'll ask for help sooner. Maybe this time you'll rest instead of push. Maybe this time you'll choose softness without shame. You're patched, you're healing, and you're still worthy of love. You're still worthy of joy. You still can risk. You still can take those risks. You're still worthy of laughter. You're still worthy of deep connections. Because those things that come against us to try to take us out of those places, it's so that we can't become the wonder that God has created us to be. The Bible says that we are beautifully and wonderfully made. And that's in every aspect. It's not just the outer, it's the inner, it's the spiritual, it's even the carnal, it's everything that God uses every part of us. So you're good, you're bad. He needs all of that in order to shape, form, and even to draw others. And if you if you understand it, you understand understand that in every stitch of ditch has grown me in ways that I can only imagine. That's minimal things that I've gone through in my life that I'm willing to be transparent on. But I can say that emotionally many of us are. And we give so much and we give so often till we have nothing left for ourselves. And sometimes we applaud that. Sometimes we applaud the fact we can give out, but that's not a safe space. That's not a safe space. And what we want to do is find an emotional safe place. And that's only in us. I want to share something. Say, well, you shouldn't feel like that, or you shouldn't say this and you shouldn't say that. But it doesn't matter what people say because you're only driven by the life that God gave you. You're only driven by that relationship that you have with God. You're only driven by that. I know we value some people's opinions, but oftentimes it's just that. It's not the road that we should take. But emotional wellness is us recognizing our emotions, managing stress in healthy ways, and recover from setbacks, maintaining healthy relationships, and living with purpose, hope, and balance. It doesn't mean that you're never feeling anxious or sad or overwhelmed or tired. It means you know how to process it, you know how to regulate it, and restore it when you do. The Bible says in Proverbs 17:22, a joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. Now, the medical side of emotional wellness, being that that's part of who I am as well. I'm in nursing school and I've always looked at things medically because I always want to be able to there to be some type of healing, a natural healing, and to see what they're looking into to diagnose. So let's diagnose this emotional wellness. So chronic stress increases your cortisol, which can raise your blood pressure and weaken your immunity. It disrupts your sleep. It worsens your anxiety and depression. Now, poor emotional regulation is linked to heart disease. It's linked to GI issues, stomach issues. It's linked to headaches and fatigue, weakened immune response. Now, the evidence base that we have to improve our emotional wellness is regular sleep, physical activity, social connection, a cognitive reframing, meaning how we think. We have to change how we think, mindfulness, prayer, meditation, therapy, or counseling when needed. It's okay to have a pastor and a counselor and a therapist. And I know somebody that's not biased. It's nice to have something that can help bring us out so that we can live the life that's best for us. That's literally cognitive behavioral therapy. You have to change your thinking. And I've heard this many places, and it's so true. Change your thinking, you change your life. The spiritual foundation for emotional wellness is casting anxiety on him because he cares for you. That's what First Peter 5:7 says. Now we get emotionally exhausted because we carry what we were meant to cast. So that's why I said I had to give that back to those who had came to destroy me, the enemy that come to eat up my flesh. And I had to give those things back to them. I'm giving you back this trauma. I'm giving it back to you because it's not mine to carry. So I'm casting it on you. Not only that, the cares that comes with it, I'm casting those on the Lord. He says, because he cares for me. He said, cast, you got to throw, release, and transfer that weight. And when you carry it, you internalize it and you rehearse it over and over again as to say what I'm not. Well, it was said that I'm not this and I'm not that. You ruminate over it and you start blaming yourself. Prayer is not denial. Prayer is a divine weight transfer. So once you cast, you got to transfer. You cast that weight, you got to transfer the weight. So now I'm giving all of that to God. I'm turning it over to Him so I can guard my inner world. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Your heart equals your mind, it's your emotions, it's your inner life. You must guard what you consume, the news, social media, conversations. Who has access to your emotional space? You got to guard that. You got to guard what narratives you keep repeating to yourself. Emotional wellness requires boundaries, not just faith. God cares about your emotions. In John 11:35, Jesus wept. In Luke 22:44, he felt anguish. In John 12:27, he was deeply troubled. And in Mark 1:35, he withdrew to rest and pray. If Jesus honored his emotional limits, so should we. And the only way to accomplish this is what I found to accomplish the emotional wellness is through daily practices. Do emotional check ins with yourself. You ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? What do I need right now? Psalms 139:23 says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Self awareness is spiritual maturity. You got to renew your mind intentionally. You got to replace, I can't handle this, with God is with me in this. You have to replace, I'm failing, to I'm learning. You have to replace nothing will change with, this is a season, not a sentence. Isaiah 26:3 says, you will keep in perfect peace whose minds are stayed on you. Peace is not the absence of problems, it's the presence of anchored thinking. You build rhythms of rest. Mark 6:31 says, come away by yourselves to a quiet place, and get some rest. Rest is sleep. It's quiet time. It's saying no. It's turning off noise. It's letting your nervous system rest. Burnout is not a badge of honor, it's a warning light. You got to stay connected and not isolate yourselves. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10 says, two are better than one. If either of them falls, one can help the other up. What isolation does is it worsens depression, it worsens anxiety, stress, and it worsens distorted thinking. But healing happens in safe community. You use help as a tool, not a failure. Seeing a counselor, a therapist, or a doctor is not a lack of faith. Proverbs 20:18 says, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many adversaries, or they succeed. Or at many, I'm sorry, with many advisors, they succeed. God heals through prayer. He heals through people. He heals through medicine. He heals through wisdom. He heals through support systems. All of it is still God's provision. Someone told me, someone gave me some medicine. I went to therapy and they gave me some medicine and I wouldn't take it because I know I don't need that medicine. I just pray and I just pray and I won't take that medicine. I said, are you still going through things? Yeah, I'm still going through things. I said, do you take your blood pressure medicine? Do you take your other medicine? Do you take this medicine? She said, yes, I take that medicine. I said, why not? If God made provision for that, why you don't think that He made provisions for this? All things are not unto death. They're to get you to the place where you can still maneuver, you can still function, you can still be a part of your life. So if it's for a little while, take what's needed so that you can repair. We think we're not beyond repair. That's why the patches are there. That's why the scars are there. We've been repaired already. We've been repaired before. It's God provisions. Pray, ask God to use it as such and move on. But in that, you have to maintain the emotional wellness. You got to think maintenance, not miracles. You want God to perform a miracle. You ask Him to do something. He keeps leading you to it, but you keep throwing away the maintenance that He's giving you. You keep throwing away. Okay, now I want Him to work a miracle. Lord, I'm not going to get in the way of your blessing. I'm just going to stand over here and wait for you to ride by with it. No, that's not what we do. It's not him coming out. It's not a parade of miracles. It's not you waiting on him to come down the street and throw it out like a handful of beads. You got to get in the way of it. And then once he give it to you, you got to maintain it. That's through daily prayer and reflection. That's a healthy sleep routine. That's regular movement. That's boundaries with draining people and situations. That's limiting emotional overload. That's honest conversations, periodic mental health checkups. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good." Consistency is greater than intensity. Now you sustain your emotional wellness. How do I do this long term? Now you're giving me this. How do I do this long term? A lot of times we get advice from people, or people say things, but I don't know how do I keep this going? How do I keep this up? Well, you sustain emotional wellness by accepting that life has seasons. You adjust your expectations, because sometimes our expectations can lead us off that same cliff that Jesus sent that swine into. Because we are expecting things, and we're expecting things of people, but what do we expect of ourselves? You got to adjust your expectations. Say, I know I have faults. Even in a relationship, this is what I understood about me. I know that since I have faults, somebody has to deal with my faults. So why can't I deal with theirs? But I just have to adjust and say, what am I willing to deal with? Because it's not a nothing. Or just because that person has this, oh no, I'm not dealing with them. But did you search yourself? Did you check in? Did you check in this morning? Did you check in to know that you have some too? And you start practicing self compassion and letting God redefine your strength. Because in 2 Corinthians 12:9, it says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness." And yes, we have weakness. You don't stay well by being stronger. You stay well by being supported, being surrendered, and being self-aware. Real in our real life application, where faith meets real life. This is where faith meets real life. So here's what it's like on Tuesday afternoon when life is life, Saturday afternoon when life is life. You pause instead of pushing through exhaustion. You pray instead of panicking. You talk instead of bottling. You rest instead of proving. You reframe instead of ruminating. And you ask for help instead of suffering silently. Psalms 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." And if I must, I'll get to the bottom line of this whole emotional wellness. Emotional wellness is spiritual. That means it's anchored in God. We can't do nothing without God. Try it. Let me know how, how that turns out. Because I can tell you, I can't do it. Emotional wellness is medical, it's regulated through healthy brain and body practices. It's practical, sustained by daily habits and boundaries. In order for us to be able to perform this thing called life, to go through this thing called life, we have to formulate some healthy habits, because each day is not like the day before. Tomorrow is coming. Now we have to stay in constant communication with God. Prayer is our conversation, worship is our relationship. You don't have to choose between faith and mental health either. God designed them to work together. So, in closing, I want you to understand this. If God has provided it, thank Him and move forward. Because whatever He purposed inside of you, that the enemy keeps trying to keep down, it can't die until it performs the work that it has performed that work. And God has put a perfect work inside of us. May God bless and keep you. Mine is spinning. I can't hear you again. Sorry. Here.
I can you hear me now? I apologize. I don't know what's going on, but I do know this that this information is was much needed this morning, and the this phone did something on this side, so I've been talking the past 5 minutes or so, and I don't think anybody can hear me. But I do want to say this morning that
No, no.
I want to say that I just appreciate your thoughts so much. Those just looking at it in life as patches. That's and then the life has seasons is something. It was that was so profound that I just typed it in the chat. Life is it does have seasons, and we have to understand where we are in that. And you're so right. Those things that happened way back when coming back to resurface, and we don't even realize those things are there, and we have to deal with that. And those verses, I'm just going to go back and listen to this all over again where I can really focus and get those scriptures written down, and go back and and really go through that. I was over here trying to work on this technical difficulties of it, but I just thank you so much for being here and being a part of now that you are a part of the Jewel family. Is there anything that you would like to say to anyone that may hear
Yeah.
this now or later? Because I didn't hear the last part, and if
I
not,
just want hmm the last
go.
part of the my message. You say you didn't hear the last part of my message?
I didn't hear the very last part. I just wanted to make sure that you had anything to just finalize with with
Oh,
our viewers. You can go ahead and do that at this
oh,
time.
mhm. Okay. Um, I'm prayerful that you guys heard the bottom line for emotional wellness. That it is spiritual, is anchored in God, it's medical, it's regulated through a healthy brain body practices. That it's practical, sustained by daily habits and boundaries, and you don't have to choose between faith and mental health because God designed them to work together.
Absolutely.
And I just want us to be in a because it attacks our mental, it attacks us everywhere. So sometimes I ran into a young lady who had started experiencing stress. She started having this rash around her eyes. And she says, I never had problems with my skin before. She said, when I
Mm,
went to the doctor, they said it was stress related. So
mm,
stress turns our bodies inside out. It just puts us in a place of chaos because that cortisol, and we try to lose that weight around our belly. That's stress. A lot of it is stress because
yeah.
that cortisol builds up, and it's like, and that's where we're carrying it. We're carrying it everywhere. So there's different places that it can build up. So if we can release that and start living the life that God has planned for us, because we're holding on to a lot of our traumas. And look, God had it's a fixed fight. I
Yeah.
truly believe in the whole fixed fight thing. And when we come to
Mm,
battle, it's a fixed fight. God has already prepared us for it. All we got to do is stand, get in position, and if you never throw a blow, if you just get get ready for the fight, if you get in the fight, you won't have to throw a blow, and the fight is won. Just show up to the fight, and watch God do
sure.
it.
My
Show up and
goodness.
watch. He has been such a inspiration in my life. I've come through so many storms, and I said, well, I got to get even the storm. Sometimes it would have me that I wouldn't even believe in God. A lot of the things I've gone through,
My,
if
my,
if
my.
I if I shared it, it would be like, how could you're still serving God? You still doing this after this is happening, these things and those things and everything else? Yeah, because that was those people's God. I had to get my own. I had to get him for myself. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
We are held up on other people's prayers, but when we get our own, when we get God for ourselves, we understand that our God, the main God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God, He has He has all power, and He had power to raise me out of my trauma. My power to raise me
Yeah.
out of my trauma. Do you know what type of
Mm,
mental capacity it takes to be raised from trauma? Oh my goodness.
my,
Because
my.
in the beginning, the enemy, that's why it's later on. How could this happen to me? Because the enemy desires to sift you as wheat. It's just like when he told Peter, the enemy desires to sift you as wheat. He said, but I pray for you. It's not, I pray that your faith won't fail. He didn't say, I'm coming to get you, I'm coming to save you. He said, I'm praying that your faith won't fail. It's not that you're not going to go through it. But you need to know when you do, I need you to
Yeah.
have faith. When you do, I
Absolutely.
need you to understand that I'm with you. When you do, I need you to know that. So I want you to come out of that traumatic place. I want you to understand that I still love you. You still my child. No matter where you've been and no matter what you've done, you're still my child. You belong to me. So I care about your emotional wellness. I care about that. That's why I need you to come out of the darkness. The darkness is what hides the light, that tries to hide the light. And we know that light that's inside of us is greater than the darkness. You cannot hide
Yeah.
light on a bushel. It's going to come through
Mm,
every time. So that
every
trauma
time.
is darkness. Trauma is darkness. Those emotions that the enemy tried to overtake, and the brokenheartedness, all those things he tried to quiet in us. He tried to quiet our praise. He trying to keep us from acknowledging who God really is in our lives and making us believe that, okay, why would God allow this to happen to me? Why would this? So we start blaming God for things that
Yeah. My, my, my.
oftentimes we it puts us in a spiritual mature,
Yeah.
spiritual
Yeah.
immaturity. That's what it puts us in place of. And
Absolutely.
I just want I just want us to just, if anything, just try to work through the traumas. I'm not diminishing, I'm not denouncing, I'm not belittling any trauma, because
Yeah.
everybody's trauma is great. Trauma is great. But I'm just sharing how in my life that I have managed to show up to the fight and trust God to win it, and say, look,
Absolutely.
I got to return this to you, return this to sender, because it's
Return
eating
to
it's
sender.
eating me alive. I have to be emotionally well. Turn to sender, because my life is much more than like say my life is much more than me. My life is much more than trauma. My life is much more than despair.
Yeah.
My life is much more than depression. My life is much more than that. So as I live this life that's much more, I got to go with the God that saved me. I got to go with the God that raised me. I got to go with the God that keeps me. I got to go with this that I know so that I can be well. So I can fight like the lioness
Absolutely.
and know that even if I'm broken, the patches are going to show me how strong I am and the
Yeah.
stitches. Thank you for my healing.
Amen. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. And I want to go ahead and just tell you here on live, if you are available on June 13th, 2026, we would love to have you in Meridian, Mississippi. And I'm going to send you a formal invitation, but just your the information that you've just relayed over to the jewels this morning. I just know that there's so much more there that we can learn in our in-person conference. I'm gonna send you a formal invitation. And if you can, I understand, but I'm gonna send it to you anyway. So I just thank you so much. And for you jewels that are out there, thank you for bearing with us this morning. I promise you I'm gonna get this technicalities fixed so that the screen and the voices and the sound and everything will not be a distraction to the message that's being brought forth this morning. That I do vow. Uh, just some other quick announcements this morning. June 13th, 2026, East Jerusalem and Toosuma, Mississippi, which is right outside of Meridian, will be our third annual women's conference this year. The theme is Speak Life. And so we want you to come out and join us this year. It is a free event. If you would like to make a donation to UR Jewel, you can go to urjewel.com and make a donation there. But the event is free. We will be accepting sponsorships. But as far as the event, we just want people to come out and be a part of that on June 13th. Just be looking for all the details. They'll be on the webpage, on both the private page and the public page. Um, very soon. We are working on those details. We don't want to put anything out until everything is finalized. And so we'll have all that information. If you're traveling from out of town, we'll have hotel information available for you for the Meridian area. Also for those students, parents and students, ladies, if you have children um, in Mississippi, mainly in the regions of Harrison and Jackson County on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, scholarship forms will be going out to those counselors by the middle of March. And please have them to get those from their counselors. The scholarship amount is $500. And it will be paid to your institution of choice, whether it be a 2 year or a 4 year. But those applications will be out and the criteria will be listed on there so you can get those from your counselors mid March. UR Jewel has been sponsoring a scholarship for the past 5 years. And so we are very excited that it's that time of year. So those are our two big things that are coming forth. And again, Elder Shell, we just thank you for being here this morning.
Yes,
We hope you will join us in June and even before then, just being a part of the Jewel family. And
yes,
so we'd like to say, well, we want to sign off this morning with you said so many affirmations this morning, but
yes.
those things that I highlighted as essential is it's a fixed fight. It's a fixed
It's a
fight.
fix.
We just got to show up to it. That life
Yes,
has seasons and we need to recognize that those
yes,
seasons will come,
yes.
and we
Amen.
have to find an emotional safe place.
Yes,
Okay. And
yes.
so we want those are those key points. And as you go through and listen to the replay, or if you were here this morning, I hope you took those nuggets away. And we will see you next time on the Jewel Well. Thank you so much.